Welcome to Blue57 Scouting Report. I'm Coach Jay, and I am joined with Lexus Ortiz in New York City. Hello, Lexus. How are you doing today?
Hi, Coach Jay. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on the show today. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. Another busy week for college football and recruiting.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of movement on the board with recruiting, with commits and decommits. So today we're going to jump right in and have Samuel from California come and speak to us about recruiting rankings.
How you doing, Lexus?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So we'll go through the top 10 like we have in previous weeks and just see what's changed. There's been a couple new commits, a couple decommits, a couple movements in the top 10. Alabama stays the same at 22 commits. They didn't have any movement this week. They stay at number 1. Ohio State had one new commit, 6'1", 190-pound receiver from Washington. That was a good commit for them. Georgia jumped LSU, and they had a new commit this week as well. Nyland Green, he's a 6'2", 183-pound cornerback from Covington, Georgia. They jumped LSU, so LSU dropped one spot. They had no change in their commits or decommits. Oregon stays at 5, although they had 2 decommits. Jadarius Perkins, 6'2" cornerback from Mississippi, and Christian Burkhalter, 6'5" defensive end from Alabama. He flipped to UCLA. So, yeah, that's the only changes in Oregon. They stay the same in the rankings, though. May have a change by next week because of the 2 decommits. Clemson and Florida stay the same at 6 and 7. They've had no movement this week. Notre Dame picked up a new commit, 6'5", 220-pound outside linebacker Devin Opu, and then Michigan stays the same at 9. So the top 9 have been the same. They've kind of flip-flopped around a little bit, but for the first time in the last couple of weeks, we've seen somebody else jump into the top 10, and that's Oklahoma. They jumped USC. Miami and North Carolina also jumped USC. So USC went down from 10 to 13. Oklahoma didn't have any commits, but I think the reason that USC is slowly falling down the rankings is the 2 big decommits that they had last week. Well, the big one being the quarterback, Jake Garcia. So we spoke about that. That was a big decommit for them. So with Tennessee, they currently sit at 14. They had 2 big decommits this week as well. Hudson Wolf is a 4-star, 6'7" tight end from Savannah, Tennessee. He actually flipped to Ole Miss. So Tennessee lose out on an in-state guy there. And then also Jay Jones, 6'1" cornerback from Alabama. He was a decommit for Tennessee. So that kind of rounds out the top 10, top 15. Still a lot of movement this close to signing day. I know that we'll have a lot of movement in going into the next couple of days and next week. So there'll be a lot of changes coming. Last week, we also spoke about Florida State and their situation sitting at 34th, which is not great for them whatsoever. Their situation, they have 15 commits. 7 of them are from the state of Florida, which is 47%, which is under 50%. If you compare that to Miami, their commits are slightly different. 90% of their commits are from the state of Florida. They have 20 total commits, and 18 of them are from Florida. So they're high up there in the percentage. And then the University of Florida is pretty similar. They have 26 commits right now, and 18 are from the state of Florida. So Florida State definitely struggling in Florida, under 50%, hopefully, or they'll be hoping that they can bump that percentage up by the end of signing day or towards signing day. Their commit rate right now not looking good either. They're at 4.9% commit rate. They have 86. They have 309 offers on the board and only 15 commits. So 86 of their offers are in the state of Florida, which is 28% of their offers. Miami slightly different if we're comparing to similar schools in the state. 107 of their 247 offers are in the state of Florida. That's a 43%. And then Florida, like I said, they have University of Florida. They have 18 commits from Florida. They have 65 of their 251 offers are from the state of Florida. So that's just breaking it down and comparing Florida State and their situation to the other big schools in their state. It's definitely interesting. And like I said, I think they'll hope that they can get some more commits and probably from their state. going into signing day and the start of next year. The other one that we spoke about last week was Auburn and their situation. They were sitting at 41 last week when we spoke about them. They actually dropped one spot to 42. They have 242 offers on the board and only 12 commits. They have 0 commits from the state of Georgia, which is crazy. They had 10 last year in the 2020 class. So going from 10 commits in the state of Georgia to 0 is crazy for them, and they only have 1 commit from the state of Alabama. So breaking it down for them, they currently don't have any running back commits. They had a decommit that was a running back, and they still may get him. That was Armani Goodwin. He's from Trussville, Alabama. 24/7 have him as warm. He, like I said, he decommitted at the end of November, so he's reevaluating his options, and he may still go to Auburn, which would be a great pickup for them. They currently only have 1 wide receiver commit also, and 4 out of the 47 that they've offered are still available. That's not a big number, so they may be still looking to get a wide receiver commit by the end of signing day. The other thing with Auburn, and this may be some hope for them, is Terence Lewis, who's the 5-star inside linebacker from Miami, Florida, who decommitted from Tennessee. He's predicted from 24/7 to commit to Auburn, which would be a great commit for them, and they would start to shoot up the rankings. Also, George Wilson, who's a 3-star weak side defensive end from Virginia Beach, he's also predicted. Interesting for him, he decommitted from South Carolina the same day that he got an offer from Auburn. So that may be the reason why they're predicting him to go there. And then the last one is a 4-star inside linebacker from Georgia, Trayvon Wallace. He's a Boston College decommit. So these 3 guys are predicted to go to Auburn. And like I said, there's still some hope there for them. I think that they can definitely shoot up these rankings. 42 obviously isn't good enough for them. 12 commits is very low also at this time of the year. So they'll definitely be looking to get some commits next week. Terence Lewis, that 5-star commit from Miami, Florida, he said he's going to drop his top 3 on Monday. So definitely keep an eye out on his Twitter for that, because that may be a telltale sign of they are predicting it would be Tennessee, Auburn, and Miami, but we'll keep an eye out on that and update you guys on his situation moving into early signing day and maybe early next year. So
Yeah, I want to go back to what you were saying about Florida State. I know that their season hasn't been the best, so that definitely plays a role in the commitment rates that they're having right now compared to the other Florida schools. I know with signing period coming up right around the corner, we definitely should see a lot of movement. But for Florida State, what's your opinion? Do you think they're going to get any more movement, or it's going to stay?
I think so. So they only have 15 commits right there now. They're probably looking at 8 or 9 more commits coming in, and I think that that's what they'll be hoping for. Where that comes from, I'm not 100% sure. They do have a lot of offers out in Florida and Georgia, but like I said, I think Miami and University of Florida have trumped them in the state of Florida, the commit rates that they have from their offers, or the amount of commits from that state. So it will definitely be interesting, and we'll definitely keep an eye on that movement. But I think that we should see some more commits towards Florida State moving into early signing day, and if not, then early next year towards signing day at the start of February.
So Samuel, I think that's great report. That's very interesting. The one that I want to go back to is, and it just came across to me. I was thinking about it. When you think about Auburn, they are a feel-good stadium, and my thing that I'm thinking is, when you go to Auburn and you go and see that experience, it's very intoxicating. They have not been able to do that this year, and I think they've paid the price for it. They're one of those schools where when you go there, you feel the love, you feel the energy, and since they hadn't been able to do that this year, it's just put them on a different level. I think that's why you see some of these other states that don't quite have the same fan bases. they've been able to capitalize on it by pushing other things. So they've been able to take advantage of that. The fact that Auburn is not all over South Georgia players, that's a travesty. I'm not sure what's going on there. My guess is that you would look at the coaches that are covering that area, because South Georgia has been a pipeline for great Auburn football for its entire history. It is it's right there on the border. It's right beside South Georgia. A lot of those kids are, they're in a geographical area where they can get there in a couple hours. So that's a travesty that they're not getting more of those players.
Yeah, no doubt. And to your point, I think that it's definitely a big impact on them not having or not having the opportunity to have the kids come out and tour the school and show them the experience. And it's definitely a huge part of recruiting, no doubt, having these players come out to the school. So I think everybody's in that same boat, but some more than others, because like you said, that's what the strategy is behind, right? Is getting these kids out there and showing them the whole experience. So like I said, I still think that there is some optimism behind this recruiting class for them. I think that there'll be a lot of changes in the next couple of weeks, and I think that we'll see them skyrocket up the rankings. Maybe not into the top 10 like they should be, but you would hope into the top 20, especially if they can get some of these guys that they're predicted to get.
No, that's awesome. We actually have a scout that is actually on campus there at Auburn, and we will be talking to him later today and getting a little bit more scoop on that. I hope our viewers will check that out. It'll be interesting to find out kind of more of an inside perspective from somebody that's right there on campus. So we're gonna dive into that one pretty heavy today. We will also dive a little bit heavier into the Florida Gators. Why they are able to beat Florida State, like you're saying. I totally agree with you from where I'm sitting. Miami and Florida have just out-recruited them. They've had winning seasons. They've played better, and they've out-recruited them. And that's kind of the way that works. So it'll be interesting. We'll hear both about Auburn and Florida and other reports. But I think the stuff that you're giving here is great. I did see a little bit of movement with that Georgia LSU stuff. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with LSU. I know anytime that Georgia's able to keep a guy in state that's a top player, that's a big win for them. They love to keep those Georgia kids home, and because those kids have loyalty to the school. So all of that's really good. So
Yeah.
anyway, go ahead.
I think just to your point real quick, with Georgia jumping LSU in the rankings, LSU had 2 decommits last week, and that definitely plays into the rankings and where they sit. So they didn't have any changes this week. So I think that there may be like a week lag on the movement there and seeing where they stand in regards to where players are fitting in. So yeah, and then that's what we'll see next week too. These decommits and commits that we're seeing this week, there'll definitely be a change in the rankings next week, and I look forward to going over them again and seeing the movement. It's definitely exciting. It's definitely unpredictable right now. So
I'm just curious to see, like, my guess is that top 10 is pretty much going to stay intact. There might be a little bit of movement there, but I don't think it's going to be anything too significant. But you know what? We'll see. What's your opinion?
no, I agree. And if you look at them, all of them are on the around the 20 mark of the commits, right? So there's not many more to go for these teams or these schools. So Oklahoma is the only one that is around 15. Clemson too. Clemson's commit rate this year is insane. They haven't offered many kids, and they've gotten a high commit rate. So there will be a couple more commits here and there in the top 10, but not a lot of movement. And I don't see anyone else really breaking into that top 10. Maybe USC again. They've got to replace Jake Garcia at quarterback. That was a commit that they had. So, and I don't think that that's necessarily off the board. He's still openly looking and being recruited. So it would definitely be interesting, and we'll keep an eye on it for sure.
Awesome. Thank you for your report. That's excellent information.
Absolutely.
So Lexus, interesting stuff. It's the rich get richer. These teams that are in that top 10, these are perennial powerhouse programs. The one thing that's consistent with them is they all have very good coaches. They have very good coaching staffs. They have a very good support system. They have very active fan bases. And to be a successful program, you got to have all of that, plus a whole lot more. You got to have a whole lot of graduate assistants that are hands-on with the players. A lot of these Power 5 programs, they have up to 500 or 600 support people, from the cooks, the chefs, training people, people working in physical therapy, graduate assistants, girls that work with recruiting. I mean, you're talking, 500 or 600 people. They're small. They're medium-sized corporations that are doing this stuff. So we're coming into the last week of signing day, and it's all the work that they've been doing all year long. It's all coming to fruition on Wednesday.
Yeah, you definitely need all those factors in to have a successful program. From the outside looking in, people could just think it's the coaching staff, but it goes far beyond that. Like you said, you have the chefs. Like, nutrition is very important for these athletes. The psychological component, like you said, with these graduate assistants that they have, and physical training, just keeping their bodies healthy as well.
So yeah, it just takes a lot of people to make this stuff work. I gotta do a shout out to Chandler Staton. He's one of my clients I work with sports psychology. He's a kicker at App State. I think he set a new record for field goals this year for the Sun Belt, and I got to shout out to him. He's a great kid, and he's a kid that I've been working with since he was in high school, and he's a tough kid. He went to the Mountaineers and had multiple changes in coaching staffs, and he's just kept on doing his thing. He keeps making field goals, and he went up to South Carolina last year for a game that I was at, and scored the most points in that game and beat South Carolina. So I just got to have a shout out to him. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. It's a great report, and we have a couple more things that we're going to be working on actually today, with an Auburn report and actually a Florida report too. So we'll have those in for our subscribers and people to see. So we got some interesting stuff, trying to give a look at the scouting, the recruiting, sports psychology, and letting people kind of see it from a different angle. And so we just want to give good content, and that's really what we're about. So I appreciate your part in today, and I think it was a great show.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate Samuel as well for coming on and talking about recruiting rankings. Thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Blue57. And if you like the content that you see, like and subscribe. Thank you.